Blackboard, the program that brings you glimpses of urban life and tries to show you the lessons that those glimpses try to teach us. Tonight we are looking at my favorite subject, education. In particular, we will be examining that undercurrent in the Black community that sadly characterizes education as not being beneficial or worth the effort. In Paterson, as in too many other urban centers, the lowest performing students in the general population are African American students, in particular African American males. There are so many mixed messages given to urban children, and one of the more pernicious ones is the disdain for working hard in school. Their music and videos are often orchestrated to push the hustle and shun the discipline and benefits of educational excellence. Their environment confounds them with conflicting signals where ready and available heroes frequently operate on the dark side of the law. Their peers, and sadly sometimes their own parents, not infrequently undermine their efforts with low expectations and negatively reflect their own suboptimal educational experiences onto their children's chances of success. Their schools and classroom educators too often don't push them to reach their potentials. They don't see the people who have flourished after achieving educational success, as these people often leave for greener pastures. These and other issues work to confound urban students' understanding of the value of education to their lives. And so, of the many accomplished graduates that soar above the awesome odds against them, few stick around and take up shop in the midst of this life-altering trauma that can be the urban existence. This crucible that can forge steel-like constitutions if they can survive, that can also comprise that crushing obstacle that damns you so you don't. What the urban child sees are the entertainers and sports figures, and most sadly, street hustlers elevated to high levels of esteem. These people look like them and capture their aspirations. They don't see the ebony-skinned engineers, scientists, accountants, physicians, computer programmers, bankers, Wall Street brokers, or lawyers. They don't interact routinely. Hence, urban children don't often aspire to these positions. This has nothing to do with ability, but rather is a consequence of poor exposure. Tonight, a survivor, Jacquard Gillette, a man with a degree, has a message about all of this for the younger people coming up behind him. People who sit and will sit in classroom seats as he has. That message comes up next here on the Urban Blackboard.
What's up, y'all? What's going on? I know. Boring, right? You're in school. You all look around and you're saying, man, can someone please put me out of my misery? I get it. It's tough. I mean, you kids are living in the most stimulating time period in the history of mankind. I mean, you have 1,000,001 distractions, from cell phones to tablets to iPods, iPads, and TV streaming services, and video games, and advertisement. And they're all telling you that school is boring. Now, I get it. And you know what? Even though school may seem boring, there is a true purpose to it. A real purpose to it all. In fact, let me show you something. Don't check out. Don't worry. It's not going to be any standardized tests or anything like that, so don't get upset. Everything is okay. But let me show you something. Anybody tell me what this is? You? Does anybody know what these numbers are? charts over here are? Come on, take a guess. You? How about you in the back? What about you? How about you, miss? No? Nobody knows. Okay, see this right here? All of this, these charts, numbers and figures. This is evidence of a society that's trying to permanently enslave you. Yeah, you see this right here? This is incarceration rates in the state of New Jersey, between racial lines, and this is also the incarceration rates nationwide. Even though the number one contributor to incarceration rates is drug possession or drug dealing, and that is virtually the same across racial lines. See this right here? This is recent Labor Department data that says specifically that Black applicants with college degrees are still twice as likely to be unemployed than their white counterparts. Latinos, 60% more likely to be unemployed than their white counterparts. Asians and Southeast Asia Pacific Islanders are still 25 to 30% more likely to be unemployed than their white counterparts. Native Americans, 3/4 or 75% more likely to be unemployed than their white counterparts. See this right here? This is wealth disparities. Whites have 16 to 18 times your net worth. Family, this is your average, everyday, middle class, middle of the line white family has 16 to 18 times the net worth of your typical Black and Latino family. This right here, 400, only 400 of the richest Americans have the same amount of net worth as the entire Black population in this country. That's 41 million people. 400 people in this country have the same amount of net worth as the entire Black population. And right now, they're actually on track to have the same amount of net worth as the entire Latino population. And this last study right here was recently done by Oxfam. And they found out that 85 of the world's richest people have more net worth than 3.5 billion people on the planet. See this right here? You all look and you're like, whoa. This is the reality that awaits you. This is the world that we live in right now. But you know what? This is not the end all and be all right here. These incarceration rates, the data on labor and wealth disparities is not the end all and be all. And you know what? Reality can change. And you can change this reality for yourself, for your community, for everyone you love, by being here, where you can have the true purpose of education. You can really be here for what education is really about. And I'm here to tell you right here, right now, that no, it is not about job placement. Regardless of what you've been told, all your lives, growing up in this culture, in this society, what your parents may have even told you, that's not the only reason why you're here. See, one of the reasons why school may be boring is because, unfortunately, we currently run our schools on an old education model that was built for the time of the American Industrial Revolution and built for the economy at that time. I mean, we pass people along just like how we did in factories and batches, and separate things in different subjects and different facilities. And you pass you along just like that, just like almost like a product. It's a production line mentality that has you feeling that school is boring. And that's because, unfortunately, we have subscribed to this notion, this mechanistic notion of education, that it's just like an organism. But no, education is not a mechanistic entity in this society. It is much more like an organism that's part of a greater group of organisms of your cities, your towns, your states, and even nations. Education is part of the cultural fabric of every society. Every single one. There's no exception. It is truly part of it. And unfortunately, we have gotten to this place of you're only here just so you can get a good job. And that's not why you're only here. True purpose of education is not job acquisition. It's not job placement. The true purpose of education is for liberation. That's what it's really for. It's about solving old equations and creating new ones. It is about mastering dates, historic dates, and understanding what made them historic. It is about rising above standardized testing. It is about seeing the different variety and disciplines of engineering and the prospects that they bring into creating new things. It is about learning the language of computers and creating websites that's going to be able to help push commerce, to help push productivity forward. It is about taking music and making it your own, embodying it. It is about using poetry and its prose to your being. It is about taking these skills that you learn here, that you have developed here, to be able for you to conquer new frontiers, for you to be able to see life problems and solve them, and solve those life problems for yourself. It is about taking classroom instructions that you learn here and using self-research that's going to take you to the next level. And for you to ever be a learner, to be a forever student. Because you're always going to keep learning. Always. No matter what. And you are here to get those tools and those skills so you can be able to do so. It's about the philosophy of education that Teresa Perry wrote about so well in her writings on this, where she talks about education in non-white communities in general, but black communities in particular. And that is the philosophy, was that knowledge is freedom, and freedom is knowledge. It's about economic freedom and learning your own financial literacy for yourself so you can help build wealth. See, that's the reason why the slave masters didn't, whether here in America or in the Caribbean or in Latin America, didn't want their slaves to be educated, because they knew once they'd be educated, they'd be free. And they couldn't control them using the chains that they bound them in. That's the reason why you're here. You're not here for the benefit of the haves over the have-nots. That is not why you're here. You're here to explore, because life is a big exploration. But this is the place that you're going to learn those tools here for exploration. Learning how critical that the math and sciences are to not only just of life itself for human beings, but to the state of the ecology. That's what the math and science is all about breaking down life, simplifying. And then the arts and humanities are the expressions and the creativity as to why we live, knowing why we live. That's how important those things are. That's the reason why you're here. Job placement is only one of the expectations of education. There's only one. But you're also here to be a better human being. You're here to become a productive citizen. To sit there and think about new ideas, challenging old ones. That's the reason why you're here. You're here because the true purpose of education is for liberation. It's not for job placement. It's not to go work for someone, even though there's nothing wrong with working for someone. But there is something wrong when we have a culture or when we have a society that is only predicated on this notion that you're only here just for job placement. Because it's not the only reason why you're here. It's simply not. There's only one. You're here to explore. It's all about exploration. That's the reason why you're here. You're here so you can be a productive member of this society, so you can help push humanity forward. You're here for everyone who has come before you. You're here for your mother, your father, or your abuela, your abuelo. You are here for the people who have laid the path for you, and you're here for here right now, and for whoever's going to come after you. See, that's the main purpose of education, is to challenge old theories, to sit there and ponder and think about the advancement of humanity, seeing how the arts and the sciences not only break down life for what it is into different bits and particles, but also as to why we live. Seeing the power of poetry, seeing the power of music and the justness of life, seeing the power of all disciplines of engineering, and learning about the new technological advances that computers bring, and help further in those advances, and learning the language of them. That's what you're here for. You're here to learn about history and how important it truly is. Because whether it's 10,000 years ago or 10 minutes ago, it all occupies the same space in consciousness. For the past tends to repeat itself, and we learn from the past. That's why history is so important. That's why social studies is so important. Learning language, learning what it is to be human, and seeing what else is out there, which is why the sciences are so important. Looking at the state of our ecology, cultivating it, nurturing it, and even space exploration, to seeing what is out there, where we all come from. So that's why the true purpose of education is not just for you to get a job, regardless of what you've been told. That's not the only purpose. And I also want to get at something else, because this is something that I think we all who have grown up in this culture have come to believe in some extent. And that is this notion that you're here to also get an education just so you can get out of the hood. Or this notion, this idea of you're only here, oh, well, you got to get out. You know, if you get here, you get educated, then you get out, and you never come back. Just think about what we say when we say that to you. Because I know, I grew up with it as well. I grew up with it. I grew up with it here in Paterson. Had the same information being taught to me. And just think about what we say when we say that. Have anybody ever thought about that? Have you ever really challenged that notion? That, oh, I got to get out the hood. Because I know you all heard it. Because I heard it. Because subconsciously, when people tell you that, we're saying that everything you come from, everything you know and love, your family, your neighborhood, your friends, and all the activities and things that you do, even like everything that you come from, the environment you come from is wrong, and you need to get away from it as quick as you can. That notion subconsciously implants that there's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with all the things and the people that you come from. And that is a big, big problem. And we need to divorce that notion ASAP. Because another reason why you're here for education is to transform your community. That's another reason why you're here. You're not here just to go get this piece of paper that people always talk about and then leave. No, you're supposed to be here to educate yourself so that you can help push your community forward, make your communities much better, strive for better, inspire others to do better. Now, that's going to the notion of responsibility, which is something that we all have been taught and raised and taught about. And there's a great virtue, because personal responsibility is great. But even though it's not my fault, but I feel though I must apologize to you when I say this. And that is the fact that Unfortunately, we lied to you as a culture and as a society when we said that you could be anything that you want to be in this world, and it only depended on your merit and your personal responsibility. I'm sorry, it's not true. How we know it's not true? Because of the data I just put up right here. Because see, all these people who fall into this, they worked hard, took personal responsibility, gave they fullest merit, played by the rules, did what they're supposed to do, and they still may find themselves that. They still may find themselves to be twice as likely to be unemployed, 60% more likely to be unemployed, 25 to 30% more likely to be unemployed, 75% more likely to be unemployed. Because in this study, they line up evenly with their white counterparts. Same years of experience, same major, same qualifications, everything line up evenly, and still may find themselves in that kind of situation. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Especially you. I see it in your face right there. Look, you're sitting there thinking like, oh my goodness, what is this? This is making me feel like I have no shot. Well, I'm here to tell you right here, right now, that you do have a shot. And it is still possible for you to be a success. And you. And yes, you too, miss. It is still possible for all you to be a success in spite of all of this. In spite of everything that you see here and here. In spite of all of it. You are still able to be a success. No matter what. But yes, that means you're going to have to fight hard. You're going to have to fight every single day to get there. I know, because I had to fight hard. I'm from the same community that you're from. I'm from East 19th and 10th Ave. And I had to fight every single day to prove all of this wrong. To prove this wrong. To prove the incarceration rate's wrong. I had to fight every single day. And you know what? I'm winning. But it's not just about me winning. It's about all of us winning. Every single person in here, and in this building, and in this city, it's about all of us winning. Not just me. It reminds me of what the great poet, the great late poet, Aimé Césaire said, when he said, it is not out of jealousy or envy that we look to find ways to better ourselves and people where we come from. There's still a great deal left to be done in the world. And the race of man is not finished. And there's room for all of us at the rendezvous of victory. So you all in here have a shot. You all in here have opportunity. And I'll leave you all with this one challenge that the great Dalai Lama left us. Or should I say have given us, because that's a lie. And that is, he said, it is a miracle to have been born at all. A miracle. So what are you going to do with your life? Class dismissed.
What are you going to do with your life? That is indeed the question. Are you just going to continue to go to school looking for a job, or are you going to, like so many others, too many others, fool around and waste time, get nothing out of this opportunity, and even possibly drop out? Or are you, as young Mr. Jacquare Gillette counsels, going to seize the moment and grab the tools taught to you in classrooms like those and prepare yourself to develop the ability to rescue your neighborhood, be a beacon of light and new direction on dark and dangerous streets? Will you help find the next big invention, create the spectacular medical breakthrough, or possibly help determine the answers to questions that we haven't yet learned to ask? Will Mr. Gillette's words hit their mark, achieve their purpose? Can his young wisdom cut through the confounding messages from the streets? These questions await answers. Only time will bring them. And when it does, if it does, we'll bring them to you right here on Urban Blackboard.